It's hard to believe, but my oldest son, Ryan, is graduating from high school this Throwback Thursday. It seemed only fitting that we should share an episode, the first one I ever recorded with him, that we did together on a previous milestone, the day of his 13th birthday. This revisited version of that episode also includes a speech that Ryan wrote at his middle school graduation. It was a speech about some challenges he was having with feelings of depression and anxiety and feeling a little bit alone during that time in his life. And it seemed important to share this message as well in May, which is also Mental Health Awareness Month. I hope that you'll find so many things that you appreciate in this conversation and that it is an invitation for you to mark the milestones in your own child's life, maybe in the way that Ryan and I did, for some inspiration through the milestone hike that we talk about in this episode. And also an invitation to have conversations with your kids about how they're truly feeling, really giving them space to share with you if they're having any struggles with feeling alone or depressed or anxious. I'm so grateful that this podcast has become a place where Ryan can really show up and share who he is. And I hope you'll also join me in honoring Ryan and celebrating his graduation and moving on to the next chapter of his life. He'll be starting college in the fall. And we'll be doing a special upcoming episode with him and Jonathan Mooney talking about ways to support students who are neurodivergent like Ryan as they move through college. So thanks for celebrating with us and stay tuned for that episode. Now on to this show.
Hi, and welcome to Mother's Quest, a podcast for moms like me ready to live our own truly epic life. I'm Julie Neale, a life and leadership coach, community builder, writer, and mom to two high-energy boys who challenge me to grow into my best self.
Mom!
I'll be right there. Where was I? In the months leading up to a big milestone birthday, I decided it was time to stop sidelining my dreams and realize that I'm the hero of my own journey. I knew I didn't want to do it alone, so I created this podcast to learn from other moms on their own quest, so their words of wisdom and lessons learned could help light the way for mine. I created this podcast for myself. Come along with me, and you'll find some treasures of your own.
I'm honored to bring you this episode number 45 of the Mother's Quest podcast, a conversation I shared first a little over a year ago when my own son Ryan marked a big milestone in his life, his 13th birthday and the approach of his bar mitzvah. Recently, Ryan crossed another threshold, his middle school graduation. And in the weeks before this new milestone, he wrote a speech to capture the experiences and lessons learned from a really challenging spring semester. Though Ryan didn't have the opportunity to address his class at graduation, I believe the messages of his speech about moving from feelings of depression and isolation to curiosity and connection could impact an even bigger audience through the power of podcasting. So I decided to bring you his speech in his voice, followed by our original podcast conversation. This Milestone Reflections Revisited episode also warranted, in my mind, a new dedication from someone with a unique perspective on the topics Ryan explores in his speech. I found who I was looking for in Monisha Vasa, a psychiatrist, mother, and writer. Here she is.
Hi, my name is Monisha Vasa. I couldn't be more proud to dedicate this episode of the Mother's Quest podcast. I was so very honored to listen to Ryan's graduation speech. You are about to hear what I heard. The story of a young man in transition from middle school to high school, finding the deep courage to share his own hero's journey. Ryan talks about his experiences with feeling lonely and sad. He used his emotions as a reason to reach out to others with curiosity and interest, and to find out whether his peers felt the same as he did, ultimately to discover that there is more that connects us than separates us. Today, I dedicate this episode to all of my patients who teach me what Ryan also teaches me, that through courage, speaking our truth, reaching out, word by word, step by step, we can dismantle the shame and stigma associated with mental health struggles, and perhaps even more importantly, discover our shared humanity.
Thank you, Monisha, for the compassionate, powerful work you do, for dedicating this episode to your courageous patients, and for setting the stage beautifully for Ryan's speech. Here it is.
Hello, and welcome to the graduation of the Bayside class of 2018. Looking back, I can't believe that we started out as bottle flipping, dabbing, rowdy kids, but have evolved into mature, Fortnite-playing young adults. I would like to start out with a huge thank you to our parents and teachers for guiding us through these last 3 years of change, and for the parents, our entire lives. Second, I must congratulate all my fellow students on our graduation, as we have worked incredibly hard during the last 3,554 hours of school. I have to be honest here. The speech I'm holding in my hands right now wasn't what I originally planned on saying. I had dreams of this great, optimistic, inspiring speech. I thought, I will write this first and only draft. It will be perfect, and these words will carry with me throughout my life. I've got this. And then, as I sat down to write, all I saw was a blank screen. I was stuck. I was writing one paragraph and deleting it, then writing another one and deleting it again. Only this time, I'm yelling at the screen and my poor father in the other room. In that time, all I realized is that's really annoying to struggle through something like this. And how jealous I was of everyone else who just finished theirs without a problem. I'm thinking I'm the only one going crazy over this speech. Freaking out that if it wasn't the greatest speech of all time, if I wouldn't get selected to speak, my life would be ruined forever. But then I got off my laptop and saw a text from my friend who hadn't even started yet. And one of the people he asked for help wasn't done yet either. And I realized maybe I wasn't alone in my experience after all. This whole speech writing experience is a lot like middle school in general, right? You go in thinking you've got it all figured out, but along the way, you have a moment, you hit a wall, and you realize that you might have been very wrong. In that struggle, you think to yourself that this is the worst that it gets, that nobody understands what's going on, that you are the only one with these challenges. All else pales in comparison to what's going on with you. So to those people out there, let me tell you a story. Before January, I was doing well in my own humble opinion. I had good friendships, extracurricular activities, and I was happy. Then I hit a wall where out of nowhere, I started to feel depressed and began isolating myself. I felt alone, but more importantly, I felt different, that I was the only one going through any struggle at all whatsoever, and nobody could tell me otherwise. I was an island, and being an island is a lonely thing to be. So, as I started to near the home stretch of the year, I decided to challenge myself, to go out and talk to you, my fellow Bayside students, to ask you about your life, your struggles, and your hopes and dreams. I interviewed 20 of you in total, partly to learn about you, but also to see if I was right, that I was alone in how I felt. And I couldn't have been more wrong. Many of us have common struggles. One of the largest problems we face is social awkwardness. Maybe you're shy, don't talk to others much, feel anxious, can't make friends. Well, I know for a fact that there are 3 other kids in this room who feel the exact same way. If you doubt yourself, there are at least 2 other kids who doubt themselves just the same. You might be stubborn enough to think that you're the most stubborn person. Well, I know 2 people who think they're more stubborn than you are, one of which is me. Many of you might have struggled with your loved ones in ways you might not think others understand. That's not true. I can point to 5 people who you can talk to. Are you behind in school? Struggling with math? Do you feel your stresses are multiplying? Well, I can sit you down at the table of 4 other kids you can work your problems with. I also learned we have big dreams in common. Looking ahead after school, maybe you think you want to be an engineer. I know there are at least 4 other kids you can build some relationships with. The young ones are in luck because we have at least 2 future school counselors in our ranks. We have multiple people aspiring to play professional sports as well. You might read a bestseller from 2 Bayside authors. We even have a few future physicists in this room. Guys, the next Sheldon Cooper might be right here, right now. Before I took on this challenge, I knew some of you for years, and others I had never spoken to before in my life. But I learned something new from every single one of you. It's very easy to think that you are different from everybody else, that you are isolated from the rest, an island. Believe me, I know, but if I learned anything from the people I talked to, and from the relationships I built, is that more unites us than divides us. My problems were still important and impactful to me, but I had to learn that other people had problems too, that they may have been just as depressed, or just as stubborn, or just as awkward. Who am I to say that my problems are more important? You think you're an island? There's another island just like you out there. You just don't know it yet. Our society keeps picking sides on issues, whether it's on religious rights, gun rights, or cultural norms. We were learning about these same divisions in social studies just a month ago, and we're doing it all over again. Through all the triumphs and pains of the last 3 years, I want to say how lucky we are to have been connected to one another. Some of us might not see each other in years, others never again. But the connections we have made, experiences we've shared, and lessons we've learned from one another can never be broken, and no one can take that away.
Thank you, Ryan, for giving me permission to share your speech with the community and for the gift of the conversation we had on the podcast a year ago. I hope the common themes and the honest messages from last year to now of overcoming challenges, building trust, finding connection, and not letting fear stop you from living a YOLO life reach all who need it. If there's somebody in your life that you think could benefit from something that you hear today, please take a moment to forward this along and help us reach more people with Ryan's message. I'm Julie Neale, and this is Mother's Quest. Welcome, Ryan Neale, to the Mother's Quest podcast, episode number 18. Happy birthday.
Thanks, Mom. Happy to be here.
This is an exciting milestone. It's your birthday, and it's also my birthing day. It's the day that I became a mom 13 years ago. Dad woke me up this morning and said, today marks the 13th year of your mother's quest.
And suddenly, you guys come in and give me the nicest birthday wake up. Really appreciate it.
We did. He wanted to wish you a happy birthday before he left.
And Jake refrained from doing that, but I mean, he's 4, so what can you say?
So, I wanted to paint a little bit of a picture of what our day has been so far before we move into our joint interview. It's your birthday and a big one, and we decided that we wanted to mark this day.
So I skipped school.
I think that's the only reason why you really agreed to do all this, is so you could get out of school.
But it was a bonus. It was the cherry on top.
So the way that we've spent our day so far, we went on a Milestone hike.
In the beautiful Laurelwood Park, 5 minutes away. It's perfect destination.
Right near our house, but it has this really great walk up a hill with this beautiful view of the bay. And we used it as a chance to reflect. And then we had a picnic lunch, and then we came into San Francisco. It has been the most amazing day. It's so beautiful here today.
My friends FaceTimed me from school. That was a nice surprise.
And now we are in a recording studio doing, I feel very official. We've got our headphones on. And so I want to give a quick shout out to Eric of The Together Show. He has his own podcast called The Together Show. And he is graciously being our host in his studio so that we could record this together formally. And he's going to be coming on a little bit later. So we're going to start with the question that I ask all of my guests. And with each question I ask you, you always then have the opportunity to ask me the same question or a slightly different one. But the first question we always start with is, tell me a bit about your childhood and the impact that your mother has had on shaping you.
Well, for the first couple years of my life, I've had many developmental delays that have hindered me for the beginning, and my parents, including my mom, have been just so supportive in making sure I got the help I need, that I could thrive and be me right now. If it weren't for their help, I don't know if I'd be in the same place. I definitely wouldn't have as high quality of life. I wouldn't have had much fun from day to day. I'm grateful for that. They've given me all the lessons I carry to today. They give me laughs. They make really bad, corny jokes that we can laugh at together. We spend time together. And we get mad at each other sometimes.
Of course.
But we're a family when we get mad at each other. We lovingly get triggered.
Triggered is the big word among your friends these days. Everybody's always getting triggered.
That and salty.
And salty. Okay, so that was really nice. I'm already tearing. I have a feeling I'm going to be crying a few times during this interview. But I am curious, and you don't have to only say good things, but like what in particular do you feel like you've gotten from me about who you are? There's some bad things too, right? Some good things.
You can't really look at yourself in the mirror the way other people do. You can't see yourself the way other people do. So with you and Dad and Jake, it's the closest I can get to seeing me, part of me. And like, I get to laugh at the things you do. I get to notice the things we have in common. I get to laugh at our differences. And it just makes me more aware of who I am, watching people like you and Dad and Jake acting out the other half of who I am, because I get half from you, half from Jake, and you guys each pitch in and deciding how my genetics, how I am, how it gets expressed in the world. So
what would you say are the two things that are most similar between you and me, a strength and an area of growth?
I like how you worded area of growth. Strengths. We both have very strong wording. I'm talking about strength in vocabulary, how we express ourselves. We are both very avid readers. We both love to write and share our stories, whether real or in our heads. And that's the thing I'm so glad I have, because if I wasn't a writer, I definitely wouldn't be where I am today. It's one of my favorite things to do, just to go and sit on the couch with my laptop and type out whatever story is swirling inside my head. I get that gift from you. And my growth opportunity that I share with you. Should I pick one?
Just pick one, because we could spend the whole interview talking about areas of growth. Yeah.
All right. I have to say my biggest area of growth I share with you is, and if for whatever reason my dad is listening to this, you'll get a big laugh. It's probably sense of time.
Yes.
We are both very bad with time. I am late for school almost every day.
Oh, goodness. Really sharing that.
We're being honest. Remember?
Yes.
I'm late for school very often. I don't keep very good track of time. I tend to procrastinate. It's not that bad. On big projects, I'm pretty good, but it's the little homework assignments. I find I get home at 3. I have one small homework assignment that should take 30 minutes of my otherwise free day, and I end up being done at 8:30.
I think that this is definitely something that I have helped shape that I'm not particularly proud of, and something I also really want to work on. We may get a little bit later. It was something I was reflecting on this morning on our hike, so we might get to that later. So, do you have a question for me about my mom?
Yeah. Can you tell me something about Grandma that I don't know?
Ooh, something that you don't know.
I want to learn something I didn't know before.
Something new about her. Let me think about that you don't know. I feel like you know a lot of things about her, but
It's gotta be something.
Well, you might not know that one of her very first jobs that she ever had was as a Head Start teacher.
I knew she was a teacher. I didn't know the specific details. Keep going.
So Head Start is a special program where children who are preschool age, many from low-income families, get access to early childhood education, which can be so pivotal in helping to set them up for a future in education that is strong. So yeah, that's something you may not know about Grandma that I really value and has shaped me has been her commitment to children and to education and to communities that don't often have as many resources as we do. And I think that really set me up to have that be a value of mine. The other thing I wanted to say, which you might know this, but one of the biggest gifts that my mom gave me that shapes me and that I try to share with you often, and actually I was just telling Jake about this morning.
Is it the, as a rule, a man's a fool when it's how you want it cool, when it's cool you want to always want it when it's not?
No, although that's a good little
Is it
rhyme.
Take away H in habit, you have a bit. Take away A, you have bit. If you take away the B, you still have it.
I love this. This is like all of Grandma's greatest hits. No, but you'll recognize this one. One of the best pieces of advice she ever gave me is that life happens fast.
Don't wish the day away.
Yeah. Just the importance of appreciating every aspect of your life as you're in it. Because before you know it, you'll be on to the next one.
Before I know it, I'll be in college.
Don't make me think about that just yet. All right. So I think we should move. I think we should move on. I have my next question for you then. So on the hike, on the way up the hill, we were having you reflect on your life until this moment, your first 13 years, and what some of the highlights are and what some of the gifts are that you want to take with you. And Ryan is pointing to some notes that he took.
And my mom's narrating everything I do.
So could you share a couple highlights of what came up for you on the way up on our hike?
I was thinking of my life in steps, because just like the steps up the hill, my entire life has all been in small steps. Each day is kind of like a step, culminating in almost 4,000 days. I've almost lived 4,000 days of my life. It's hard to grasp sometimes.
Wow.
So I'd say a couple of my gifts. I am so lucky. I've had support in some of my developmental issues and delays when I was younger. I am grateful that I found the GATE program. It's furthered my education. It also gave me friends that are more like me, because I feel one of my greatest gifts is, again, like I said, my gift of writing and the lessons that I've been given, whether it's small, like keep your things organized, or big, like to trust those around you because they have your best interests at heart. And my biggest gift is probably my brother, Jacob. I love him so much. I've been wanting him ever since I was 5 when I asked my mom, Mommy, when am I gonna have a brother? And ever since then, almost every day until I was 8 at night, we curled up in bed and we turned on my little silver turtle that played a tune. And we always sang Lila Tove to Jake wherever he was, wherever that place before living is, to wish for him to come. And now that he's here, I couldn't want it any other way, except when he comes home and goes and jumps on top of me when I'm doing an essay and deletes half of it. Other than that, I love him so much.
So first of all, I want to say so the GATE program that you referred to, that's the Gifted and Talented Education Program in our district where we live. And we're so fortunate that they have that program, and it has been so amazing for you. The next question I had actually about your first 13 years, I was curious about, sometimes I ask the guests on the show, like, what's an epic snapshot moment for them? Yes, I know you don't like the whole epic life thing.
I think the acronym's a little too long.
Ryan likes to make fun of me for it. But you have had an exceptional life these 13 years. So first of all, I want to know what other snapshot moments come to mind. But because you mentioned Jake, I wasn't there, but I saw on video the moment that they came out and told you that he was born and that you had a brother. And I think you fell to the floor. Yep. I'm curious if you remember that moment and you could share a little bit about it. What was going through your mind?
Well, the thing I remember most about it was that I wore the ugliest glasses. My God, I can't believe I wore glasses.
Those were cool glasses. I liked those glasses.
No, in all honesty, I remember seeing him with his hair all messy, his eyes were closed. There wasn't really anything differentiating him from the other babies, but I fell in love with him at first sight and quote unquote passed out right when I saw him. I was in tears.
Do you remember what you said?
Yeah, but I want to hear you say it. I'm testing you.
I think it was something like, I'll never be alone again.
because I was an only child. Yeah.
And I think you probably said something like, this is the best moment of my entire life.
It was the best moment of my entire life.
What other snapshot moments come to mind?
I'd say one of them was at 5th grade graduation. You probably immediately know what I'm saying. And they were announcing the end of the school year awards, and they're listing off math and science and community and stuff like that. And then they finally got to academic achievement. And I won't forget that for a long time that they called my name up for that award, and I never saw it coming. I was so surprised. I went up, I said thank you. It was like the first real moment when I realized that I really had something. It just made me feel really special.
What question do you have for me related to highlights of my last 13 years?
I only remember the last 4, to be honest.
Really?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to remember much about you when I'm 8. I barely remember anything about me when I'm that age.
What are you curious about? You don't have to know the answer.
What's your deepest insecurity that's maybe developed about
after becoming a mom?
After becoming a mom.
Ooh, wow. Good question.
Thanks.
My deepest insecurity. Well, I mean, I think at the most basic level, I think it's very common for mothers to worry that they're somehow not being the mother that they should, or that I've messed you up in some way. But I think since I started living my epic life, don't make a snarky smile. I think
they can't see me smile right now.
My biggest insecurity or fear, which I'm working hard to make sure doesn't happen, is that I live my life vicariously through my children. And I don't actually step up and live my life, become the biggest and best expression of the person I'm meant to be. I want to teach you not by my words, but by my example, by the way I live my life.
Well, you're having me on a podcast show that you started all by yourself called Mother's Quest, that you've connected to a bunch of people, gotten a big support network.
Yes.
And you've interviewed people with hundreds of thousands of subscribers, people who've written books, a woman who helped organize one of the biggest, I think it's the biggest protest in American history.
I think it was the largest gathering worldwide ever in history.
And you talked to her. You're doing this on your own. Don't ever think that it's not you. This is all you, 100% you.
So I'm curious then, a follow-up question to that for you is what do you feel like has been the impact of watching me live my life differently?
Other than lots of comedic content for me as my life as a house comedian, I guess. I'd say that the biggest way it's affected me has been just watching how you spend your time. I mean, you're still addicted to Facebook. That's understandable, but you're focused on something. Before, you weren't really spending your time. You weren't really spending it that wisely. You weren't you're doing a lot of good things, working alternatives in action, helping people, but a lot of it has been kind of just sitting around the house, working, maybe washing dishes, looking after me. Now you're doing something that you want to do. And by being maybe a little selfish with your life, you've helped me more than you would have had you not made that step. And by selfish, I'm talking about selfish in the nicest way possible.
So what I'm hearing is that you're seeing me follow a passion and doing something that is inspiring to me.
Yeah.
It's self-focused because it's something that I'm following my own interest, but that is a powerful example. I'm laughing a bit about the washing dishes because I don't think I've ever really washed that many dishes.
I'm sorry that my accurate depictions of observing you doing housework that I totally do and love doing are maybe not spot on.
All right. I think we should move on to the next question. So then when we were at the top of the hill looking out at this amazing view, I asked you, what are some things that you feel like you want to let go of? So what do you not want to carry with you into this next next chapter of your life?
First of all, I'd want to be maybe a little bit better around things that scare me, especially animals, because this may be a little embarrassing, but I'm afraid of just about every animal that's there, whether it's a bird, fish, dog, cat, butterfly. I maybe get a little spooked by it, and I think it's because of a lack of understanding. They're being unpredictable. I don't trust them. I don't know what they're going to do. So being around them scares me because I've lost control over what's going to happen. So I think maybe one thing to let go is some control, so I could learn to trust that someone else can have control. It doesn't have to be me. Because today in the hike, it was beautiful. We were walking and there's a family of 5 deer that happened to be there on that day. And they're scared of me, but it seemed like they were following me because as we reached different places on the hill, they were there. And Mom told me that she'd never seen any large wild animal in the 20 or so times she's walked up that hill. But I was scared out of my mind. And I had to trust Mom's words that they wouldn't hurt me. And I kept going up. And then on the way down, I saw one more again and looked right at me and then ran away. And I remember there was that one time it made this big majestic leap up a big hill, and my words give no justice to what I saw happen. It was beautiful, and I'm like, maybe it scares me, but I'm glad I saw those deer. It's a good sign, like an omen. I wouldn't say I'm especially superstitious, but it's not the worst thing that can happen when you're on a milestone hike, you know?
So one of the things that you like to make fun of me for, one of the many, is...
It's not that many.
So you like to make fun of me for the fact that when the 2 birds got trapped in the house, that I made all of this meaning out of it.
I don't know if we should go there. It won't end well.
So, but my question to you is, what meaning might you make of the deer on the hike today for you?
You really went there.
What will you look back and have that majestic leap represent for you?
The majestic leap was more eye candy. Just something beautiful that I saw at that moment. But the deer being there, I don't know if I'd say it signifies anything. I don't want to take anything away from that moment, which was unique for me in my life. But just, again, the desire to be special. And it felt crazy that these 5 deer, not just one, a whole family was around when I was hiking. That, like Mom said, she's been on the hike 20 times, never seen them, and she's probably hiked on most times of the day. And I saw it. I saw 5 deer. It was surreal for me. It felt like they were giving me attention.
It did feel like they were there for you.
And they were beautiful and terrifying at the same time. They shouldn't be terrifying, but...
Yes, most people would not be terrified of deer. But you explained it. I get why they are for you. It's real.
If I had to pick something that it signifies, I probably would say that just because my fears are there doesn't mean I want to go away. I was scared of the deer, but I also thought it was beautiful at the same time.
That both things can be true, that there can be something that feels scary and you can actually appreciate it.
I remember a quote from Divergent, one of my favorite books, and it was by Tobias, who's one of the instructors in the Dauntless faction, the faction that stresses bravery. Oh, yeah, by the way, if you haven't read them, great series.
We'll put a show link to the Divergent series in the show notes.
I remember he said that the key to conquering fear isn't to eliminate all fears, that everyone has fears, but it's about suppressing them, not letting them overcome you, not letting them stop you from doing what you're doing. Live with a YOLO mindset. You only live once. Don't let your fears stop you from doing things. And I kept going up the hill and I saw more of the deer. If I stopped, I would have finished the milestone hike. I never would have seen all these beautiful deer. I wouldn't have seen the spectacular view at the peak of the hike. So I'm grateful.
It's a great message.
Yeah.
One that I am taking into and working on for myself in my life. So do you have any questions for me about what I want to let go of moving forward? Do you have any unique twist?
Unique twist.
Are you curious about the same question for me or something slightly different?
Probably slightly different.
What do you got?
What's the thing that you think you should let go of, but almost almost don't want to?
Ooh. These are good questions, Ryan. Okay, first of all, I just want to name the thing I want to let go of because you referenced it earlier. I do really want to change my relationship with time because it adds to stress. There's no reason for us to be stressing out in the morning getting you to school or to, feel that we're worried that we're not getting to other things that matter on time and it's not respectful to other people and their time. And I don't like that it's teaching you and Jake bad habits. So it is a lifelong problem of mine, and I really want to leave it behind as we move into this next chapter of my motherhood journey. But the question that you asked, which is so interesting, the other thing I was thinking about walking up the hill, which ties to my time in the morning, is that I would like to become more of a morning person. I would like to have more of a morning ritual, have more time and space between when I wake up and when I need to get you and Jake ready for school.
And that starts with going to bed in the same day you woke up.
Exactly. But what is hard about that for me, you asked what am I kind of not want to let go of, that I'm a night owl. And there's something about being a night owl that feels very much like who I am.
I think you're coming at this all wrong.
Tell me what you think.
It's not a bad thing to be a night owl. I mean, you have a certain amount of time each day, and you're talking about things that you would be doing. You'd be better track of time if you did things in the morning rather than at night. But I've noticed that being up at night, it's no different than being up in the morning. It's still time. It's just when you're closer to a deadline, you work at it harder than when it's not. So I challenge you. You don't have to, because you said night owl's kind of who you are. Don't change that.
I'm afraid to let go of my nighttime.
Just be better with time
for me.
At night, instead of wasting your time away watching your show, get ready for it. So in the morning, you don't have to be stressed. You can have done it already when you wake up. That doesn't mean you have to go to bed obscenely late. That doesn't mean that's okay. But it means that as long as you have time, when it happens is irrelevant. If you get stuff done at night, even if you go to sleep late and wake up somewhat late, it's not going to be as stressful for you.
All right. So what I take away from that, which I could do, is I think you and Jake end up going to bed late because I'm still getting Jake.
If this leads to me going to bed earlier, I am not listening to it.
Jake gets his bath late. Jake has some supplements I give him, and I always wait until the last minute to give him those. And then,
if it's a math equation, I know you don't like to think. Let's say when I get home from school, I have from, let's say, 3 to 9 to do whatever I have. That's 6 hours. And I can subtract of that to different things I do. And I'd rather subtract 3 hours immediately of my stuff and then 3 hours later than doing the stuff I like to do right away and then having the nitty-gritty annoying stuff later. Just distribute your time better.
So what my takeaway from this part of our conversation for me is to be more focused, to get the things I know I have to do done earlier, because that will set me up for more potential ability to have the morning I want. Could you help me with that?
Yes. Can you help me with what I need help with, which is the similar problem? To be fair, I'm not as bad with time as you are, no offense, but I still struggle with it. So I'd like your help with me on that too. Like an exchange, we both help each other with it and stuff.
That sounds good. I think that we both get distracted by our various screens. And if we said in the evening that between 6 and 8:30,
that's the problem. What? You're doing it late. Wow, we have
earlier.
Do earlier. I mean, I'd rather watch TV later and have the no phone time in the beginning than have the no phone time in the evening.
Okay.
Because even though it's healthy, it still means you're going to be doing what you need to do.
So earlier in the day. So the next question I have for you, and then actually we have to get ready to invite Eric, our host, back. So then at the top, you symbolically let go of what you didn't want to carry forward. So on the way down, we started to talk about what you want your next chapter to be, what you want to see happen in your life and to focus on for yourself. What were some highlights of that?
to be honest, my experience of the walk down was mostly silent. I just remembered talking about in 7 years when I reach 20, when I'm no longer a teenager, I'd want to have another milestone hike and have similar experience. And we'd be looking back on the last 7 years from today on. I remember that I said I would be looking forward to that time when I'd be looking back. I'm like, oh, remember when I said I can't wait for 7 years later? Wow, that's such a long time. I just love how that gave me a perception of time, not as in like, you're running out of time, you have too much time, but time is in the consistent, intangible flow of life.
But there were also some interesting things you said on the way down about how you wanted to live your life. Maybe it was connected to the YOLO.
I wanted to not let fears, like before with the animals, get in my way. I want to apply for that hard class. I want to go out and make new friends. I want to be able to do things I've never done, like play for that team, ask that girl out, go to that crazy movie I don't want to see, that like the scary movie. Like, just don't let things stop you.
Yeah.
Because what's the worst that could happen if I tried out for a team and I didn't make it? I'm not worse off, you know? Because there's someone I know who wanted to try out for high school soccer, but she was afraid that she wouldn't make it. And eventually she didn't try out. And I thought, that doesn't make much sense, because I don't remember who said it, but they said you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. If she tried out, there's a chance, I don't know if it's big or small, but there's a chance she could make it. By not trying out, she made her chances become zero.
Right.
So I think that I've learned from that. Try things, you know? You don't want to not do something and then wish you'd done it. Because, again, time is beautiful in that you only have so much of it, and you only have certain things to fill your time up with. And for example, later in life, when I'm 30, I can't try out for that team. I wish I tried out again, because that's not how time works.
Yeah, it kind of brings it all back to grandma's perspective about being fully present at that time in your life and taking the opportunities that are relevant in that time, because you won't have it again.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. What's your question for me?
What's your deepest regret?
Ooh. Every question you ask me, I'm like, I don't know the answer to that question. I think I'm really fortunate that I don't feel like I have a lot of regrets. Nothing is coming to my mind at all right now. I think, well, let me say this. I think, if there is a regret at all, it has been, but I don't think it is, because I'm here where I am now. A regret would have been if I continued to have what I call like the whispers of things I want to do. I honestly, I just don't feel like I have any regrets, because I feel like I've started to move into the life I want to live.
You know what?
A regret would have been continuing not to take action, because the idea of Mother's Quest has been with me for years. So I could look back and say, well, I regret that I didn't take action on any of those things sooner, except that I feel like I'm exactly where I should be right now. So I don't regret.
I think that's great that you're living your life like YOLO. Again, while you want to take risks, you don't always have to shoot for the stars. You have to be realistic when you go for broke sometimes.
Well, I think it is important to take steps.
Baby steps.
To just keep moving forward
just keep swimming, just keep swimming.
I think that we're getting towards the end.
Do you think we should call Eric in?
I think maybe we should call Eric. So we're going to take a momentary break here and bring back Eric, whose studio this is, because he's going to help us with this last little part, which Ryan said was a surprise. So we'll tell you in a few moments. This will be an editing break, and
You'll
we'll be right
back in 3, 2, 1, go.
So we're going to play a game now that Ryan really wanted to do as part of this podcast experience called Generation Gap. It comes from UCLA's Family Camp Bruin Woods, where we go every summer. And it should be interesting and a lot of fun. Ryan and I have made a bit of a bet that whichever one of us gets more points, meaning we may know the other one slightly better,
buys the other person frozen yogurt from our favorite yogurt shop nearby. And within reason, they can get whatever toppings they want.
Oh, I hadn't agreed to that.
I said that before.
Oh, I missed that. All right, game on.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Generation Gap. The prize is yogurt. 1 point for every correct answer. And here is your first question. Every athlete in the world should blank. Now, each of you answer this question. Now, remember that you're answering for the other person. Every athlete in the world
So what
should
I think Ryan would write.
blank what you think Ryan would write.
And
Ryan,
what I would actually think.
you have to put that in parentheses so that we know if she's right. So the question is, every athlete in the world should blank, and you're going to answer what you think your mom would say, and she's going to answer what she thinks you would say. Every athlete in the world should blank.
Oh, he wrote a
I
lot.
have it.
You guys are making this hard for each other, I can
All
tell.
right. So you tell me what you think I would say.
Okay, I wrote that you would say make millions.
Every athlete in the world should make millions.
I said keep body healthy.
For what you thought I would say.
No, for what I would say.
Oh, wow.
Every athlete in the world should keep their body healthy.
Come on. Injuries.
I like that.
Come on.
I had something like that, and I wrote hydrate. Does that
Wait,
I
count?
thought
Well-
you'd say
Okay, but premature mom, what did you think your mom
I
would
thought
say?
she would say practice because she's always getting on me for not playing basketball outside enough.
Okay, well, I think each of you gets a half point for this one because you were on the same page with keeping your bodies healthy and hydrating, but you didn't get each other completely right. Now we're going to try one more my way, and you'll tell me if you like it.
Okay.
Okay, question number 2. When I turned 13, the coolest video game in the world was. Now each of you is going to answer that, and you got to think back. What would it have been when she was
Were
13?
there video games back then? Did she play video games
It
back
wasn't the
then?
dark ages.
I think this will be easier for mom than for me because video games are much more mainstream.
We'll see. Think Atari. Have you seen the Atari throwbacks? Those are
No,
a thing.
I haven't. You mean like a console or a specific game?
Think of all of those awesome
Specific game.
80s style video games that were produced by Atari. So, Mom, we'll have her go first.
Okay.
Maybe she's going to. When Ryan turns 13 today, what is the coolest video game?
Well, I'll say that. I don't know the exact name, but the Star Wars one that you like to play.
Now, don't tell her if she was right yet. All right, Ryan.
When you were 13, I thought the best video game you thought, and don't get mad at me for this if it's way earlier, but Pac-Man.
I wrote down Miss Pac-Man.
Okay,
That was the only thing I
that's-
could remember.
That's totally.
So
Miss
you-
Pac-Man, same thing. Yes.
Definitely
Same
That's
get
worth
that
a
one.
point.
Oh my god, I did not think I get that.
All right,
Wow.
Hold on, I got to write down my point scores here. Ryan gets, so that we're at 0.5. You each got 0.5 for, and now 1 point for this. And Mom, what did you say? Was she right about
I
the
said
Star Wars?
Star
I
one?
said Pokemon. I was thinking
that too.
I was thinking Star Wars, but I'm like, to be perfectly honest, right now Pokemon's my favorite thing, and I just started playing the Star Wars game maybe for the first time in a while yesterday. So I wanted to be honest. I didn't want to make it tricky, but it worked reverse.
Pokemon.
I think the way you're doing is actually kind of fun.
You like this? We'll continue this way?
Yeah, I kind of like it.
All right.
You, Mom?
I do.
Okay.
All right.
Question number 3. Right now, I'm totally in love with blank.
Is it a person?
It's whatever she's the most in love with. Could be a person.
I think I know.
We're probably both going to get this right.
All right. Who did we start with last time? I think Mom went first, right?
All right. So,
All right,
do I
Ryan.
go first?
Yeah.
Right now, I think you are most in love with Facebook.
I was going to write that, but I chose not to. And I wrote Mother's Quest.
That was the other one I was thinking.
Of course, it's your podcast, Mom.
And for you, I wrote Pokemon.
I wrote Jake.
Aww.
And
so sweet.
if it wasn't Jake, I'd be going back and forth between Pokemon and Star Wars. Those are my two things.
Is that your little brother?
Yeah.
Ah, that's really sweet.
That was
I hate
sweet.
to not give you a point for a sweet answer, but I can't give you a
can't
point.
give me- If you did, I'd be mad.
All right,
Yeah, he's
so
a stickler for the rules.
we're at 1.5 points for Ryan and 0.5 for Mom.
Do you have any deep questions to throw our way? Although Ryan turned that one into a deep one.
Yogurt.
I'll work on a deep one.
Yogurt.
Okay,
If we're having fun, can we maybe do a couple more?
sure.
Because we can always edit them out, but this is fun for us, you know?
Question number 4. If tomorrow blank happened, it would be the best day ever.
So what we think is the best day ever?
For if this thing happened, your mom would think
For
it
the
was
other
the best
person,
day ever.
it would be the best day ever if blank happened.
Does it have to be something realistic?
I don't know, man. You gotta.
I think it's left up to. Best day ever's hard because it's like.
It's pretty vague.
Yeah, because I wrote something that's probably not the best day ever, but it'd be pretty cool if it happened tomorrow. I could really use it.
I love it. All right. Tell me when you're ready.
Ready.
Okay, last time Ryan went first. So, Mom,
Okay.
what do you think Ryan
So
would say?
I wrote that if you could be in the LeBron movie tomorrow, best day ever.
Close.
Really?
I wrote Stephen Curry was at a place where, like, I ran into him. Because I said close because they're both related to NBA players. So
Do I get a half a point for that?
That's up to Ryan.
it's different.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's got to be the rules.
All right.
gotta be the
What'd you
rules.
have for me?
I put for you that Oprah saw one of your podcast interviews.
That would be the best day ever.
But you didn't
And
put it.
invited me on Super Soul Sunday.
Yeah.
That would be amazing.
What was yours?
I wrote that we could all go to Hawaii together. I could use a little vacation.
I mean, like, Easter and summer, they're all coming up. I mean, get creative,
You guys, Hawaii. I don't know. I think that sounds pretty amazing to me. Okay. You ready for the next one? My greatest fear is.
My answer's really bad for mine. It's embarrassing. All right, greatest fear, I think you would be your father wishing you were a boy.
Oh. No, I had public speaking.
I would have guessed
Although it's
that.
become less
I would have
fearful
guessed
for
that.
me.
So I'm okay with my answer. I'm like, I can't think of anything else, so I'm that I think you might be.
I don't think I was ever afraid he felt that way because I just knew he always did want a boy, but it wasn't something that really left an
All right,
impression
so
on
what
me.
do you think I'd say?
Well, this is a no-brainer. I mean, we spent part of the podcast interview talking
If
about
it's
this.
deers, that's not
I wrote all living things that move that are not people.
That'd be a half point
Why?
because I picked a specific animal.
Hey,
Oh.
you gave your mom a half point. I'm going to write it down.
Well, if it's a specific animal, it would be a dog.
Bird.
Bird over dog.
I like some dogs. I'm actually, in the grand scheme of things, dogs wouldn't crack my top 10.
Wow.
I'm not saying I'm
So
not
do I get
really-
a half point?
You get a half point because you said animal.
Okay.
I think that's fair.
Where are we in our scoring so far?
Well, Ryan has 1.5 points and Mom has 1 point.
Did I get the half point just
Yeah.
now?
Yeah.
Oh, that because I had half before. Got
Yeah,
it. So Ryan's ahead. Ryan's in the lead.
All
All right, so we'll do front and back.
Next question. The thing that I say the most often, but deep down know is not true, is.
I don't know if that's...
Ooh, provocative question. The thing. Say it again, Eric.
The thing that I say the most often, but I know is not true, deep down, is.
I might have to keep it blank. I might just not have something for you.
Gotta do something.
Say you don't mean.
I may not say it in front of you as much.
All right, so you... No, it's fine. Go ahead.
All right.
All right, yeah. Why don't you go first? Ryan went first last time.
All right.
Right.
So Ryan has an expression for what he likes to call all the things that I tend to do, which is, he says it's kind of disrespectful, but he says it lovingly. He calls it all soul crap. So I think he says he says he doesn't like
That's a
soul
good
crap,
one.
but he secretly does.
I didn't put that because I make fun of it, but I never say I don't like it.
Oh.
I'd always, when it comes down to it, I'd always admit to you without much thought that I like it. I make fun of it. Mine is that
That's a nice distinction.
I say
and Ryan, that's a nice thing to know, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
I'm so glad you said that.
and mine is I say I don't care what people think of me. And a lot of it's convincing myself that. I don't think it's like crippling. I've dealt with it pretty well. I'm pretty secure with who I am, but overall, I do care a decent amount what people think. It's something I deal with from time to time.
That's interesting.
Now, what's your prediction about your mother?
Oh, yeah. I think the thing you say don't mean is, it's actually from recent. You say you have no regrets. I think if you really thought about it, there's bound to be something. Because everyone lives their life differently, so there's always something. What would you say?
Well, I think there's a difference between when you look back,
I was
maybe
stuck.
doing
That was a
something
poll.
differently, and feeling regret, which feels like a negative, not very productive.
I'm sorry, that was a poll. I honestly had nothing because you don't really have that many like mantras or stuff.
Well, here's what I said, but I realize you might not hear me say it, but I do say it. I wrote, I'm a bad mom.
I was thinking that. I was thinking you say, no, I was thinking the opposite. I was thinking like similar, like you can try to convince yourself you're a good mom, but deep down you feel you have doubts.
That's probably true too.
You're not a perfect mom, but you're a good mom. I wouldn't want another mom.
Thank you. Now see,
Unless
so
you're better, if you're better at basketball, that would be cool. If you're better at math.
Refresh me. Was that... Those were both deep, but nobody got a point.
No one
right?
got a point.
Okay.
but we were both winners.
Definitely. Okay.
Mom.
Next question. You ready? Okay. If I could take back one thing that I did last year, it would be blank.
These questions are
These are
great.
hard. I can't
Do you like them?
think of one for me.
I can't think of one for me either.
Well, we could expand it to something that you said. You hadn't said.
No, I'm thinking of said too. I'm thinking of just anything or said.
Do you want to take a pass on this one? If you do, you lose half a point.
Well, I have one for Ryan. I just can't think of one
I have
for
one
myself.
for Mom. Here, I'm just going to go
Maybe
out.
let's say we both get a point. Let's say we both thought it for the other person and we both get a point.
No, Mom. Here, I'm going to go broke in the next 10 seconds. I'm going to write something down.
Something. Oh, okay. I have one.
This is the one I wrote down. I don't think it's a very deep regret, but something like, I mean, thinking back on it, I probably want it back, but it's not like something that would really have that much impact. So what I thought Mom would say, time lost, like time you spent on like Facebook or TV or something. That's what I'd say. What was
That's
yours?
pretty good. I had the being late and stressed in the mornings.
That relates.
It's related.
It's related.
I think you could get a half a point for that.
He gets a half point for that? All right. Solid.
What do you think mine was?
I wrote that you would have done something differently so you didn't break a bone or sprain an ankle.
Oh, that's good.
Ryan has had so many injuries.
That's
this
so
year.
good. The only thing is the main injury I had last year. The main injury that's affected me has been my knee, but that wasn't like a single thing.
We could have gotten you help sooner.
It helps sooner.
Help sooner. That could be a regret.
I'll
of
give
both
you a
of
half
ours.
point because it's something I didn't think of.
Sold.
I should have. Mine is procrastinating on my SI application. And like I said, it's not something that like deeply plagues me. I'm like, if I have to think about it, maybe I shouldn't have left it to that much last minute. But it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. So that's a Sports Illustrated kid reporter application that Ryan has applied for. That hopefully he will get.
Yeah, good
And
luck
he'll
on
be
that.
doing more broadcasting like this.
All right, folks, 2 more questions. You ready? When I was a kid, I wanted to be blank when I grew up.
And what do you mean by kid? I'm a kid.
Like
Younger than you are.
Younger than you are now.
Younger. Oh, I have to remember. It's not something like it's a big conflict. That's why.
Oh, this was so easy for you.
Yeah, this is going to be...
Oh, I think I know. I think I know. All right. So, do I go first now?
Go ahead.
I thought you would put horseback rider.
Very close. I said a horse trainer.
Is that
I'll give
one
it
or
to
a
you.
half?
I'll give it to
That's
you.
a 1? All right.
Yeah.
Good job.
I knew it was horses.
Good
I said
job.
you would want to be an NBA player.
NBA player.
Spot on.
Awesome. That's
The
Mom.
question I would put rider because kid, but if thinking back, I'm like, oh yeah, NBA player, of course.
Julie, that's your first full point. Now
Okay.
you're up to 2.5.
What do I have?
You have 3. So
This is
half
it.
point ahead. All right, you know what? I'm going to give you
So what is
2
the
more
total?
questions.
Yes.
So this will be our 10th question.
And he has
I'm gonna do
3
2
and I
more.
have
This is
He's got 3 points.
This
You've
is
got
our
2.5.
second to last question. We
Oh,
don't
so it's
know
close.
how many
2.5, yeah. All right. The one thing that the other person needs to forgive themselves for the most is...
Who goes first?
I went first last time.
All right.
Okay. I wrote that you need to forgive yourself for not always understanding like the subtleties, like subtle social cues and the things that you don't always get that you might beat yourself up about.
Well, those are things that that I feel sorry for myself, but I know it's not my fault. What I put was not trusting loved ones. I have a little bit of trust issues, to be honest, because I know my own judgment, because, it's in my head, and theirs, I don't know. Sometimes it's because I said so. So I need to trust that they have certain judgment, and I feel bad for that, but I need to forgive myself for it, because it's just something I deal with. I think yours is not improving earlier at things like time or public speaking earlier, letting it become an issue until today, where your adult brain doesn't pick up on learning things as fast.
Oh, like tackling some of the things that I could have improved upon earlier in my life, like my posture.
As she sits up straight.
Not being the best version of myself. Just kind of related.
I was thinking about that, actually.
It sounds like pretty close, but no points for either.
We could each get a half a point.
You didn't get half a point. You weren't even close.
I'm going to say no points for you. So this last question is Julie's one opportunity to catch up and take the game.
All right,
back.
I could still win.
Now it's kind of a tough one, so you're going to have to really think through it. You guys ready?
Oh, ready. No.
Question is...
And he goes anyway.
The one thing I wish... Of course I'm going to go anyway. The one thing I wish the world knew about the other is...
The one thing... Hang on a sec.
Wait.
It's tough. It's tough because...
Hang on. For me, do I say the one thing I wish the world would know about me?
What you're going to be saying is what you think
they would.
her
But then there's
answer
the
would be.
parentheses. From
About
what
her.
would my
So
answer
only
be?
doing the parentheses on this one.
You're doing both. Because it has to be... It's only good if it's both abstract and the truth. That's what we'll be revealing here.
So basically I'm saying what I think that people should know about her, and I'm saying what I think people should know about me.
Yes, you're saying both of those things.
But what he thinks I think.
Right. It's what you think she thinks the world should know about you. So it's not just what you think the world should know about you, because that's not as interesting. All right, now your mom went first last time, so Ryan, you go first this time.
I think you think the world should know that you're not perfect, that you are flawed.
I like that.
I think people should know that you care deeply about our values, that you make sure that we know what's going on in the world, that you make sure we grow up with knowing what's right. So you answer. So you give me.
Okay. I wrote that people should know that I'm powerful, because I could be kind of seen as little or young, or I could be dismissed, but I think I'm
I see you as
force
little.
to be reckoned with.
I also see you as middle-aged. Middle.
That's true.
You're not old. You're not particularly young.
But you don't experience me as youngish seeming, just in my demeanor.
Yes, I do.
So I think because of that, I'm the youngest sister, kind of small. I could be dismissed, but I think I'm actually a force to be reckoned with.
I'm glad to know that about you.
All right. So, what do you think I think people should know about me?
I thought you thought people should know that I'm actually kind of funny, but maybe you don't think I'm funny.
I thought that you'd think that you're not perfect.
That was a good one.
So what I think people should know about me, is that one of the ones that I'm supposed to?
No, but she needs to start it.
Should I say
Oh,
it?
yeah.
A lot of people do think this about you, but I also think that some people don't realize that that you really are just such a great kid. Like, you're just such a great person, and that you're really wonderful to be around. Some people don't experience you that way, but I wish that they could all experience you the way I do.
That's similar to mine. What I was thinking is I kind of have a little split persona. I have home me and school me. School me is maybe a little bit sensitive to what people think, a little bit cautious, and maybe a little not comfortable around others sometimes. And what I call home me is like when I'm texting with friends or when I have friends over, just one-on-ones. I let everything go. I'm more fun to be around. I'm looser.
You're more comfortable with yourself.
More comfortable. And what I wish people know about me is that the way I am at school isn't how I really am.
Mm-hmm.
It's just how my insecurities are reflected.
Thanks for letting me host the game.
I have a dilemma here.
This is Generation
Hang on a
Gap,
sec.
like super deep version.
Hang on a sec. I have a dilemma here. Do I give you a half a point on that or not? Because if I do, then we'd have to have an extra round to decide who buys each other yogurt.
I think I should get a half a point for that. I was pretty on target.
Let me ask you this question. Do you want an extra round or not?
Why do we have to do an extra round?
Because you'll be
tie?
tied.
Okay, let's do the tiebreaker round.
All right, then.
All right. So we're tied.
And can you make this one a little simpler?
Yeah, maybe a little.
Let me see if I have
Very
any simple ones.
complicated.
We're tied at 3 points.
It hurts my brain.
Let's see my favorite flavor of yogurt plus topping.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Is
I know what hers is. Too easy.
You may not get it exactly right.
I'm saying I guarantee Mom's going to get exactly what mine is. I have to guess what I think hers is, because if she gets this, she wins, and I have to buy her yogurt.
I think I got it.
So what's the answer?
So
all right,
you go first.
Okay. I have that you would want berry sorbet with gummy worms, gummy bears, and carob chips.
Oh my God, I thought you'd be right, but you're wrong. It's strawberry lemonade sorbet.
Oh, come on.
Mom, how could you miss
almost
that?
exactly the
No,
same
it's
thing.
completely different. Don't you remember that Yogurtland when was all triggered because they ran out of strawberry lemonade yogurt? And you know how
Did I get the
lemonade?
toppings exactly right?
No, you said carob chips, but you also did the other half point maybe.
I think I should get a half point because I got the sorbet and I got the gummies and carob chips.
All right,
You
well.
didn't get gummy.
You don't like gummies? You always put gummies
I
on.
haven't put it recently.
Really?
All right, you guys are
All right,
tied, so that's a half point. So we'll see.
I thought you put pistachio or peanut, and carrot chips.
You get a half a point too. So I said coconut and pistachio. I like to do both with carob chips.
Point.
Well,
We have to do it.
you guys remain tied at the end of the game. With
We have to have one more round.
Something super easy.
Easy.
Give me an
Yes.
example.
How about favorite food?
All right, here we go.
Okay.
Favorite food.
Favorite food of all time? All right.
I've lost. I know I have because you know exactly.
But you know what? I just want to point something out. So far, every time he said he's lost is when he gets points.
Interesting.
All right. I think your favorite food is Caesar salad.
No.
I do it.
I've got baby back ribs for you.
Oh, yeah.
Was I right?
Yeah, you're right. I do it.
It looks like Ryan is buying the yogurt.
Yay!
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a win for Mom. Came back at the last minute in the second
He always
overtime round.
underestimates me too.
It had nothing to do that. I think
She's a force to be reckoned with. She may be the youngest child, but she knows her own son.
I love. So this is the part of the podcast where we do our final takeaways and acknowledgments, and I would like to invite Eric to be a part of it as well.
Oh, I'd love to.
So why don't you go first, Rye?
this whole thing has been awesome. It's been a total blast. So thank you, both of you, my mom, Eric, for hosting. Thanks,
Hey, my
This
pleasure.
was a lot of fun.
It was fun.
Your takeaways?
No.
Oh, yeah, and I have to buy you yogurt. I should have just stopped at the time.
My takeaways, I think, and acknowledgments, I'm just really grateful. The reminder I'm having is how important and special it is to mark these kinds of milestones. I will always remember the way that we spent this day together. And we could have just wished the day away with like regular, typical things. So I really appreciate that we made it special and it exceeded my expectations.
Thanks.
And I love spending time with you and learning about you. And I was not surprised, but found myself again just impressed with how introspective you are, how thoughtful you are, how
All
articulate
right,
you are.
let's have an on-air air hug.
Okay.
You like the wording there? On-air
And
air
I'm
hug.
extremely great. So Eric and I, we haven't met before, but I feel like this was such a gift to be welcomed into your amazing studio. And the gift you just gave to Ryan that was unexpected was so thoughtful and something he will adore. So I'm very appreciative of you.
Well, thanks for saying so, and thanks for being here.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I hope you enjoy it and it lasts for years on your wall. Let's see. My takeaway is an insight that parenting is an opportunity to be vulnerable in a way that's unprecedented anywhere else. Because it appears to me that there's no hiding once you're a parent from your child who knows you in a way that nobody else can and has no qualms about sharing that with the world. Which is terrifying and at the same time probably very useful. And what I'm grateful for is to observe how committed the two of you are to deepening your relationship. I don't think a lot of parents and children put so much effort into it, and it's lovely to see you doing it in your way. And
Thanks.
Thanks for sharing
Appreciate
it with
the
me.
words.
Yeah. All right, you guys. Thanks for coming to the studio.
Thank you.
All right. This has been Ryan Neale.
And Julie Neale.
And this is the Mother-Son Quest podcast. It's a wrap.
I love it. Thank you. Happy birthday, Ryan.
Thanks. And since it's my birthday, am I buying you yogurt on my birthday? Wait for me to come out. Wait for.
A life-size commemorative poster of the Golden State Warriors winning the championship.
What?
I would open it, but that would make putting it in the trunk a lot harder.
You don't want to destroy it. I hear it's pretty cool. I've never seen it, but happy.
Wow. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Benefits of being at a sports
I'd
network.
give you a pat back or a hug or something, but then Mike,
Yeah,
stuff.
we can do it later.
Later. Like the exact same time of day. Sorry.
Goodness. Okay, you're going to want to...
H in habit, you have a bit. Take away A, you have bit.
And by the bathroom, there's a vending machine, and there's a kitchen that you can use the water in there too. There's mugs.
Forward,
Keep swimming, just keep swimming, swimming, just keep swimming. Green thing go up and down based on how loud I've been.
This is like a comedic hour. I could do a podcast with you. Maybe we should launch another podcast. It's you and me chatting.
And it feels like I am just too close to have you. Mom, this was fun.
Thank you so much for coming along with me on this episode of the Mother's Quest podcast. I hope this conversation sparked something that will help you live your epic life. If you'd like to get show notes and learn more about the Mother's Quest community, head over to mothersquest.com. And while you're there, I would love it if you would follow the prompts to subscribe, leave a review, and help us spread the word. I want to end with some words to help light the way on your quest. Seize the day. Love your people. Honor your gifts. Until next time.